نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وإذ أخذنا ميثاق بني إسرائيل لا تعبدون إلا الله وبالوالدين إحسانا وذي القربى واليتامى والمساكين وقولوا للناس حسنا وأقيموا الصلاة وآتوا الزكاة ثم توليتم إلا قليلا منكم وأنتم معرضون وإذ أخذنا ميثاقكم لا تسفكون دماءكم ولا تخرجون أنفسكم من دياركم ثم أقررتم وأنتم تشهدون صدق الله العظيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي اللهم ربنا ألهمنا رشدنا وأعذنا من شرور أنفسنا اللهم ارحمنا بالقرآن العظيم اللهم اجعله لنا إماما ونورا وهدى ورحمة اللهم ذكرنا منه ما نسينا وعلمنا منه ما جهلنا وارزقنا تلاوته آناء الليل وآناء النهار واجعله لنا حجة يا رب العالمين آمين. Dear brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Last night, as you must be remembering, we read the first 9 sections of Surah Al-Baqarah. Today we are starting with the 10th section. I think it will be beneficial if you recall a few things. I told you that this biggest surah of the Quran and the greatest surah as well, according to the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, لِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ سَنَامٌ وَسَنَامُ الْقُرْآنِ سُورَةُ الْبَقَرَةِ. Everything has a top, and the top of the Quran is Surah Al-Baqarah. It can be divided into 2 parts, nearly equal parts. In the first part, the address is basically to the former Muslim Ummah, that is Bani Israel. In the second part, the address is totally to the Muslim Ummah, present Muslim Ummah, that is the Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. The first part comprises of 18 sections and 152 ayat, while the second part consists of 22 sections, but the number of ayat is 134. The first half then can be divided into 3 parts. The first 4 sections, they are preliminary. And I told you, it can be said that they contain a summary and gist of the whole of the Makki Quran, which was revealed before Surah Al-Baqarah. 2/3 of the Quran is Makki, and Surah Al-Baqarah was revealed at Medina. So actually 2/3 of the Quran had already been revealed. So a gist and summary of that has been placed in the beginning of Surah Al-Baqarah. Then 10 sections consist of direct address, Ya Bani Israel, Ya Bani Israel, Ya Ahl al-Kitab. This is the direct address to the former Muslim Ummah, that is Bani Israel. Then the 4 next sections, they may be called Tahweeli, because the change of the direction of the Qibla in the prayer, which was a symbol of the change of the Ummah, that the former Muslim Ummah was deposed from that position which it occupied for 2,000 long years. And the new Muslim Ummah, that is the Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, is taking that place, is being installed in that position. Now the first 4 rukus also, although I told you that they are preliminary and they contain a gist and summary of the Makki Quran, but we find references toward the Jews in those 4 sections also. For example, you must be remembering that the second section, that is applicable equally to the Munafiqeen as well as the Jews. In the 4th section again, where we find in the story of Iblis and Adam, a very subtle resemblance has been given, that the attitude of the Jews of Medina towards Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was the same as was the attitude of Iblis, Shaitan, towards Adam alayhi salatu wasalam. Because he also refused to prostrate before Adam alayhi salatu wasalam out of jealousy. There was no other reason. Out of his pride, because he was proud of himself and he was jealous of Adam alayhi salatu wasalam, he didn't bow down as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has commanded. The same was the case of the Jews. They recognized Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, all right. They recognized him. يَعْرِفُونَهُ كَمَا يَعْرِفُونَ أَبْنَاهُمْ. This ayah we shall read today. But they didn't accept him, didn't believe in him. And that was also absolutely out of jealousy, sheer jealousy and nothing else. So there are subtle references towards Jews in those 4 sections also. Then the address to the former Muslim Ummah, I told you there must be made a very clear distinction that the first section, that is the 5th one, comprising of 7 ayat, this consists of an invitation to the former Muslim Ummah to believe in Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Ya bani Israel azkuru ni'mati allati an'amtu alaykum wa awfu bi ahdi ufi bi ahdikum wa iyaya farhabun wa aminu bima anzaltu musaddiqan lima ma'akum wa la takunu awwala kafirin bi wa la tashtaru bi ayati samanan qalilan wa iyaya farhabun. From the next, that is the 6th section, now it's a very long charge sheet against the former Muslim Ummah that we are still studying. But while we are studying this charge sheet, one point must be kept in view. It is a charge sheet against the former Muslim Ummah, but it is also simultaneously a forewarning for the Muslim Ummah, for the new Muslim Ummah, the Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. These were the wrong paths which were treaded by the former Muslim Ummah. They committed these mistakes. They went astray in such and such ways. Lest you should also, O Muslims, O Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, O followers of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, lest you should also follow the same path. You may go in their footsteps. So it was a forewarning to the Muslim Ummah. And let me quote here a hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He once said to the companions radiyallahu ta'ala anhum ajma'in, لَتَتَّبِعُنَّ سُنَنَ مَنْ كَانَ قَبْلَكُمْ. You will definitely follow in the footsteps of the former Muslim Ummah who were before you. قِيدَ شِبْرٍ بِشِبْرٍ وَيَدًا بِيَدٍ. Equally, each hand in place of a hand and each arm in place of an arm. It's a sort of muhawara, a usage in Arabic language to show the similarity of something. You will be following absolutely, completely the people who are before you. And if they entered the hole of a desert lizard, you will also enter it. And if there was someone from among the former Muslims who committed adultery with his mother, someone must be within you also who will do the same. Now the companions, they were astonished and they asked, whom do you mean, O Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? A Yahud wal Nasara? And he replied, who else? You will follow in the footsteps of the Jews and the Christians. So actually we should see and we should read between the lines that the same things happen to the Muslims. The same wishful thinking. We are the blessed people because we are the Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. We must be saved. We cannot be kept in the fire of hell for all times to come, for eternity. All these things, the same wishful thinking. Tilka amaniyuhum qul hatu burhanakum in kuntum sadiqeen. And let me quote here the ayah that comes in the end of the 7th section. Actually, this ayah is applicable to us today. And practically it is not applicable to the Jews of today. ضُرِبَتْ عَلَيْهِمُ الذِّلَّةُ وَالْمَسْكَنَةُ وَبَاءُوا بِغَضَبٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ. Humiliation was heaped upon them. And they got the wrath of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They were punished like anything. Are the Jews today getting the wrath of Allah? Are they humiliated in the world? They are controlling the sole supreme power on earth. The policies of the sole supreme power of earth is in the hands of the Jews. The Zionists. They are controlling the economy of the whole of the globe. Only about 14 or 15 million people. But you know the influence they have, how much authority they command in the whole of the world. While we, although we are more than 1 billion, but what's the condition? Humiliation. No say in the international affairs. Nobody consults us. ضربت عليهم الذلة والمسكنة وباءوا بغضب من الله. These words depict the real condition of the Muslim Ummah today, not of the former Muslim Ummah. In the same way we read, the last ayah that we studied last night, that people think that we cannot, the fire of hell will not touch us, save for a few days. لن تمسنا النار إلا أيام معدودة. Now these are the same, dogmas and aqidas that we have today. Because we are born Muslims, because we say kalma, so we shall anyhow be rescued and we shall be taken out. Even if we are thrown in the hell, we will be taken out. Although a part of this is correct. If somebody has real iman, real faith, conviction in the heart, it is the agreed upon article of faith among the Muslims, all the sects of Muslims, that at one time he will be taken out from the hell. But that also to the person who has a real faith, not just a verbal attestation. The verbal attestation was done by the munafiqeen of Medina. They also said the shahada, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. And Quran says that they will dwell in the fire of hell forever. Innal munafiqina fi ad-darki al-asfali min an-nar. So these are all things which we should understand, and now we proceed further. وَإِذْ أَخَذْنَا مِيثَاقَ بَنِي إِسْرَائِيلَ. And just recall the time when we took the covenant from the children of Israel, the progeny of Israel, and that is Hazrat Yaqub alayhi salatu wassalam. What was that covenant? This ayah is very important. It gives the gist of the deen of Allah that has been the same from the very beginning. What are the basic articles of the deen of Allah? Number 1, La ta'buduna illallah. You will not worship anybody, anything except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wa bil walidaini ihsana. Number 2, you must be respectful to and good in behavior towards your parents. Number 3, wazil qurba wal yatama wal masakin. And you should be doing good to your relatives and the orphans and the poor. Number 4, وَقُولُوا لِلنَّاسِ حُسْنًا. Say to the people whatever is good. Talk to them gently. Enjoin them towards whatever is good. And as the reverse of it, forbid them from whatever is wrong, from whatever is evil and bad. Number 5, وَأَقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةَ. Establish this compulsory prayer 5 times a day. وَآتُوا الزَّكَاةَ. And pay the obligatory charity. Pay the zakah regularly. ثُمَّ تَوَلَّيْتُمْ. This was the covenant. This was the misaq. This misaq was taken by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from the former Muslim ummah. But now the charge is ثُمَّ تَوَلَّيْتُمْ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا مِنْكُمْ. Then you turned your backs towards this misaq, towards this covenant, except a few among you. Only a few remained strict and true to this covenant. All of the rest abrogated. Bantum moridun. While you were averse, you turned your backs and went away. Now another misaq. This was the basic misaq, and this I told you is the gist of the deen of Allah. These are the headings under which you can count all the teachings of the deen of Allah. وَإِذْ أَخَذْنَا مِيثَاقَكُمْ لَا تَسْفِكُونَ دِمَاءَكُمْ. And just recall when we took the covenant from you, you will not shed your blood. What does it mean? You will not shed the blood of each other. because you are one ummah. Now a person, an individual belonging to the ummah, if he kills a person belonging to the same ummah, it is as if he has shed his own blood. He has killed himself. لا تسفكون دماءكم. You will not shed the blood of each other. ولا تخرجون أنفسكم من دياركم. And you will not expel each other from their homes, fighting each other. Because you know, after Hazrat Moses alayhi salatu wasalam, when Bani Israel entered Palestine, they conquered it, but they didn't establish one central government. They divided the whole country into 12 small states. Each tribe had its own state, small states. And then there was a quarrel they were infighting, they were quarreling with each other. And then they were invoking and seeking the help of the others against each other. This is what happened in India. Before the Britishers came there, the whole of the country was divided into very small, states, and they were fighting each other. And the Britishers took advantage of their enmities. And that is how they could conquer this big subcontinent. A few thousand of them, they conquered the whole of the country. Because there was infighting. So that happened for about 300 years after Hazrat Musa alayhi salatu wasalam. They were divided among themselves. They had small states. They were fighting each other. And when someone attacked the other state, they expelled people from their state. So that they have been doing, although Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had forbidden them from doing so and taken the covenant. وَإِذَا أَخَذْنَا مِيثَاقَكُمْ لَا تَسْفِكُونَ دِمَاءَكُمْ وَلَا تُخْرِجُونَ أَنفُسَكُمْ مِنْ دِيَارِكُمْ ثُمَّ أَقْرَرْتُمْ وَأَنْتُمْ تَشْهَدُونَ. Then you promised that you will abide by this covenant, and you are witnesses to it, that you promised, you ratified the treaty, you ratified the covenant. ثُمَّ أَنْتُمْ هَؤُلَاءِ تَقْتُلُونَ أَنفُسَكُمْ. Then it is you who have been killing each other. وَتُخْرِجُونَ فَرِيقًا مِّنْكُمْ مِنْ دِيَارِهِمْ, and expelling, turning out some of your people from their homes. وَتَظَاهَرُونَ عَلَيْهِمْ بِالْإِثْمِ وَالْعُدْوَانِ, and you have been having aggression on them and helping the enemies. Tazahurun muzahara babu mufa'ala. It is helping each other against someone. Tazahurun alayhim bil ismi wal udwan, with sin and aggression. Wa in yatukum usara. There was another article of the covenant, that whenever you find a Jew, a person of your own community, as a captive anywhere, you must get him free by paying the ransom. This was again an article of the Sharia. Just as you know, it should be absolutely logical that if we find any Muslim in bondage and he is captive somewhere, and we can afford to buy for him the freedom, to pay the money of ransom and get him free, we should do it as Muslims. So that was another article of the covenant that was taken from them. But now what happened? Now they were acting upon this article. When the same people whom they had themselves turned out from their homes, when they came to them as captives, now they remembered the covenant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Oh, we had promised that whenever we shall find a Jew in bondage or as a captive, we must get him free by paying the ransom. So they were paying the ransom and getting them free. Now this was their attitude. وَإِنْ يَاتُوكُمْ أُسَارَى تُفَادُوهُمْ وَهُوَ مُحَرَّمٌ عَلَيْكُمْ إِخْرَاجُهُم. Although it was banned for you, it was haram for you to expel them from their homes. Had you not expelled them from their homes, they would not have become captives. You expelled them, and here you contravened the covenant. But when they came as captives, now you are ransoning them. So actually, what does it mean? You are acting upon a part of the deen, part of the covenant, and you are breaking the other part. Now this is actually أَفَتُؤْمِنُونَ بِبَعْضِ الْكِتَابِ وَتَكْفُرُونَ بِبَعْضٍ. These words are most profound. They are applicable to each of us today. Each of us. Not a single Muslim I can find at least who is free from this attitude. أَفَتُؤْمِنُونَ بِبَعْضِ الْكِتَابِ. So do you accept a part of our law, our book, وَتَكْفُرُونَ بِبَعْضِ, and reject the other? What are we doing today? Are we acting upon the whole of the deen? No. Part of the deen. Pray to Allah, pay the zakah, but go in business with interest. It's all right. Do everything which is haram. We are doing it. Not a single country in the whole of the Muslim world, although the number of the countries might be exceeding 50 or 60. Any country where there is no interest, no riba, none. The economy everywhere is based on riba. Any country where the deen of Allah is implemented in toto, none. So what are we doing? And you here are faithful to the American Constitution. What is that Constitution? Is it Islamic? At least I in Pakistan have a solace that in Pakistan Constitution we have that objective resolution which declares that sovereignty is for Allah and the authority that we hold is a delegated authority only. At least this is there. Although these are words only, we are not practicing it. But you know, at least the words are there. Just as we utter the Shahada, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, we are not practicing according to the Shahada. But we are Muslims on the basis of this Shahada. But the whole of the rest of the Muslim world, nowhere. The Constitution doesn't provide it. That we accept Allah as our sovereign. Sovereignty belongs to Him. Sarwari zeba faqat us zat behamta ko hai. Hukmara ik wahi baqi butane hadri. Nowhere. So this is very important. And you know the example is taken from the Jews, but the whole story is applicable to us. Khushtara bashad ke sirre dil bara, gufta ayat dar hadise digra. Story is of the older ummah, but actually it's applicable fully to the present Muslim ummah. أَفَتُؤْمِنُونَ بِبَعْضِ الْكِتَابِ وَتَكْفُرُونَ بِبَعْضِ. So do you accept and believe in part of the book, part of the Sharia, and you reject and disbelieve the rest of it? فَمَا جَزَاءُ مَنْ يَفْعَلُ ذَلِكَ مِنْكُمْ. So there can be no punishment for those who take to this attitude from amongst you, إِلَّا خِزْيٌ فِي الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا, except that they should be put to extreme humiliation in the world, in this world, in the life of this world. And that is what we are experiencing. Extreme humiliation. Why? है आज क्यों जलील के कल तक न थी पसंद, गुस्ताखी है फरिश्ता हमारी जनाब में. Why? At least there's a cause, and the cause is the same. Because we have accepted the faith, Islam, Deen, only partially. إِلَّا خِزْيٌ فِي الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا وَيَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ يُرَدُّونَ إِلَىٰ أَشَدِّ الْعَذَابِ. On the day of judgment, they will be thrown in the worst punishment, in the most grievous torment. وَمَا اللَّهُ بِغَافِلٍ عَمَّا تَعْمَلُونَ. And don't think that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is unaware of what you are doing. أُولَٰئِكَ الَّذِينَ اشْتَرَوُا الْحَيَاةَ الدُّنْيَا بِالْآخِرَةِ. They are the people who have purchased this life of this world in exchange for the life of hereafter. They have given away the life of hereafter, and they have preferred and chosen the life of this world. فَلَا يُخَفَّفُ عَنْهُمُ الْعَذَابِ. So the torment shall not be lightened or decreased for them. وَلَا هُمْ يُنْصَرُونَ. Nor they will be able to get any help from anywhere.